Rob Manfred now brought up a solution to remedy this sort of standstill in the market problem that Brad was talking about, specifically with Boris clients and a few others. So he proposed a free agency signing period in December, sort of a deadline that all free agents need to have met.
He said like 2 weeks. He said ideally during the winter meetings when we're all together so we can just get it all happen. He's like all the owners are together, all the GMs are together, the media is there so they can break the news for the fans and everybody. It's like it's a perfect storm. But then he's like, we pitched it to the players in the last CBA negotiations, but it wasn't received well. It's like, yeah, of course it wasn't.
Oh, right. No duh. Super duh. Scotty B says that deadlines are death lines to players. Those are the words he used. So we're waiting on Cody Bellinger, Matt Chapman, Blake Snell, and Jordan Montgomery. Those are the 4 players that are still on the market, and everything behind them, all the other free agents are kind of at a standstill until those 4 dominoes fall. So, Brad, do you think a free agency period makes sense?
Yes and no. Like, yeah, it makes sense so the guys can get into spring training, right? So that everybody has a home. Mm-hmm. But I think 2 weeks is too small, right? Like maybe make the deadline like the Sunday before pitchers and catchers report. Pitchers and catchers reported on Wednesday, maybe make it on Sunday. Make it Super Bowl Sunday. What the heck? Why not?
There you go. Yeah.
Let's do it that way.
Yeah.
But the problem is like, okay, so what happens if you have a guy who hasn't gotten an offer that he wants or hasn't gotten an offer, period? Like, is he ineligible to play for that season? Like, the logistics of it are tough, right?
That's my question, yeah.
And I do see the Scott Boras argument here because one of the big things he talked about, he's like, guys aren't going to get what they're worth if you have a small window, because if a guy waits and waits and waits and waits and then he rejects 5 offers, then you get the 6th offer. It's like, well, this is the last you've got, so you've got to take it or you're not eligible this year, right? Like, teams can hold guys hostage, and I don't like that for them.
No, the owners puts them in the driver's seat, and that's not what we want.
Yeah. But on the other hand, though, it would be nice to get some incentive for guys to sign. Because the NBA doesn't have a deadline, I don't think. Major League or the NFL doesn't have a deadline because you have guys holding out through camp, through week 1.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. It's the idea of it is okay. It's fine, but the logistics of it are a mess and will never, ever, ever fly.
But the logistics surrounding the situation we're dealing with now also a mess. Let's be fair. So and it's a mess for the players. All 4 of these guys and everybody behind them in the market, it's a mess for them too. The teams don't know how to work out their guys effectively. They're going to struggle to put together an effective squad matchups for spring training because they got to get reps for the guys they want to see potentially.
This is the thing. This thing too, though, like Cody Bellinger, Matt Chapman, like those guys can come into a team seamlessly. They're position players, right? Hey, go out there and hit for us. Go out there and play outfield. Go play third base, especially Matt Chapman playing third base. Like, just go play a really good third base for us. Do your job. Cody Bellinger, if he's out in the outfield, like, hey, learn how to communicate with your guys during BP today. Figure out whatever system they have, right? Like, figure that out. But Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery, you want those guys in camp because there's a reason pitchers and catchers report early. Because the catchers have to know what they're catching. I understand there's trades, right? I get it.
For sure.
I get it. But ideally, you want the pitchers and catchers to develop a relationship so you know what's going on so they can work together. And especially guys like Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, you want your catcher on the same page with them as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So things can go as well as possible from day one.
It's an intimate relationship, and it needs to be in a rhythm. You got to have it in a rhythm. If it's not dialed in, then it, who knows what could happen.
Yeah, for sure.